Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a level 20 Arcane Vanguard Eldritch subclass mod build in Baldur's Gate 3. This is a mod that was made by Saethos and they have their newest Eldritch rework, which is now available on console and PC. This adds a lot of cool new abilities to the class, which we'll be breaking down in this video. Most notably, you get the Eldritch Conduit implements here, so you get a choice between 4 different abilities. So there's a Channeler Staff, the Thaumaturge Lantern, Farseer's Gastrophates, and Eldritch Carapace here. So a few different options depending on what you want. I personally like the staff because it'll give you a cone attack that can apply your Eldritch Mark, which gives a variety of different abilities onto yourself when you're attacking the enemy. With the Thaumaturge here, the Lantern gives you the ability to clear negative statuses off an enemy in exchange for dealing extra damage to the enemy. The bow attack here gives you the ability to shine a light in an area of effect, and it makes it so that they can get confused. And the armor here will give you additional armor class and potentially drive nearby enemies mad. I personally have tried all of them. I like the Channeler Staff the most, but I would recommend that you try them all out because this mod is just incredible. My absolute favorite mod in Baldur's Gate 3 as far as class mods go. But we'll be going with the Channeler Staff. For cantrips, I personally really enjoyed Mage Hand and Minor Illusion. You can group enemies together, do a lot of sneaky things with this. And Mage Hand, throwing health potions or water bottles, just a great choice. Bone Chill is good too if you don't want to go with the Minor Illusion. And also any of the Firebolt, Ray of Frost cantrips work well. It also has Mistress Spells compatibility, so that adds a lot of cool abilities. As far as spells go, I like Armor Bagathus. It's just an extremely useful spell. They'll give you temporary health and cold damage on attackers. And Find Familiar, the Ravens are really good early game for applying blind to the enemy. Now for fighting styles, there's a lot of really great ones. I'd recommend you trying them out, depending on if you wanted to use like 2 weapons or if you wanted, this is for 2-handed weapons, you can pull enemies closer to you. If you don't know what to go with, or if you don't like any of the other options, Expedient remove mobility here, giving it an extra 4.5 meters of movement speed. Everyone can benefit from that. Or if you want to add intelligence modifier to your armor class, but we're going to be building around intelligence and dexterity here. We'll be going obviously with the Eldritch subclass here, which gives you a unique choice of spells, which we'll get to, but also gives you the Friend's Vicious Mockery and the Mind Sliver cantrip. This is really good because it was a target of -1d4 penalty to their saving throws. And you get Eldritch Branding. When a foe fails a saving throw, mark the target until the end of your next turn. The Eldritch Mark is utilized by your Eldritch Implements, which is what we get to choose here. Really cool mechanic. I love this. Highly recommend trying, again, all 4 of them out. But as for the spells we'll be taking from the Eldritch subclass, if you got a specific weapon that's got a Get Yankee ability, you can take Disguise Self to get the benefits, but Dissonant Whispers and Hex are 2 good choices. Sleep is not bad too, because you can sleep 3 goblins with this early game, so it's an option too. Now, for our ability scores, we're going to be built around dexterity and intelligence here. So a stat spread of 16 dex, 14 constitution, and 16 intelligence can work well with 10 wisdom and charisma for saving throws. And we'll roll with that. Also, if you're wondering about this armor, it's the Hunter armor by Ren. But into level 2, we got our Vanguard Stratagem. You use your intelligence modifier for weapon attack and damage rolls. That's nice. So we're going to want to obviously go all in on our intelligence. Now with this, we can also add in another spell choice. I love Frost Fingers. It's extremely useful there. We also get another spell from our list of them here. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is another nice one to knock targets prone. So you can go with that. And the Vanguard Talons. So we get a few different options here. So the Arcane Transposition forces our enemy to make a Charisma saving throw or trade places with you. And if it's an ally, it automatically succeeds. You can mark a target. Your allies restore 1 to 6 health points if they start their turn within 3 meters of the marked target. This does end up using an action to apply that, so it's a heads up on that. Focus Shatter, one of the coolest abilities that I've seen. If you're concentrating on a spell, you can break that concentration to deal additional force damage, which is really nice. And this also applies to ranged weapon attacks. So yeah, Focus Shatter is pretty cool. Yeah, you risk breaking your own concentration. Liberated Spellcasting, when you heal a creature, you can use your reaction to cast a cantrip. This is once per short rest. And also the Combat Acrobat. After using a spell and weapon attack in succession before the end of your next turn, you have advantage on dexterity saves and acrobatic checks until the next turn, and 1 turn momentum, adding 1.5 meters to your movement speed. And then the Force of Arcana here. Whenever you're near 2 enemies or more, you gain a +1 to all saving throws and 2 turns of Wrath, adding extra damage to your attacks. And upon casting a spell while using a spell slot, this can be toggled on, but it will remove such stacks of Wrath. So this is really depends what you find most useful. I love Focus Shatter, but again, with this build, there's a lot of options that I'd recommend just trying them out because Saethos has done a really great job making this class mod feel unique to itself. Now, level 3, we get our subclass feature here, Eldritch Superiority. Your Eldritch Conduit becomes more powerful, unlocking a secondary passive as seen on the item description, which you can see as we get into the build here. I'll show that in just 1 second. We also get a pick from a increased level of spell. You can alter yourself. I'd highly recommend trying not to use that, but some of the most powerful things being like Shadow Blade there. Also, Silence can be nice to stop enemy spellcasters. You got Dragon's Breath, you really like it. Command, always a good spell to grab. I'd recommend grabbing that too if you'd like. Mirror Image, increasing armor class by 9. I think if we really wanted to maximize damage, Shadow Blade would be the way to go, but Command is always a good spell to have. We also get to take another spell from our domain with things like Hold Person. It's hard to go wrong with Command and Hold Person at level 3. And we get a Socialite skill, so we can add a bonus to our Persuasion checks equal to our Intelligence modifier, Intimidation, or to Deception. Good playthrough, take Constructed Argument. If you're on an evil playthrough, take the Intimidation. And if you're on like a middle of the pack, take Deception. It's again dependent on what you're going to be rolling with. You can always replace spells too, one of the nice features of this class mod. Level 4 gives us another cantrip here, so we can take the ever powerful True Strike if you'd like. I like Produce Flame too once you get into Act 2, because you can always have this until long rest and it'll light up your character. So that's kind of nice. Frostbite if you got Mr. Spells unlocked, and Ray of Frost or Firebolt otherwise. Firebolt, nice because you can explode barrels if you love Barrelmancy. Now into level 2, I'm going to take Shadow Blade. You don't have to if you don't like it. Silence is a good spell to shut down other spellcasters, and even things like Mirror Image or Mage Armor can be useful as well. As for the next leveled spell here that we get from our subclass, your personal preference here, I really like Mind Spike or the reaction Mental Barrier. This will give you, whenever you fail a saving throw, mental-wise, you gain advantage on those saving throws and resistance to psychic damage until the start of your next turn, which is nice. Mind Spike being another nice ability. Now, we can go with a feat and increase our overall intelligence. Honestly, probably the best choice here because we base our melee attack rolls off of this, and you can also take it so that you get the benefits of your armor class from intelligence. Vanguard Spellweave. When you take the attack action, you can cast a cantrip for the free as part of that action. You may choose to cast the cantrip first, however, one action must be a weapon attack and the other must be a cantrip. Kind of like the War Magic, but they made it more balanced and better. Now, once we get to level, once we get to level 5, we get increased spell list. And as the Eldritch Vanguard, I think Counterspell is one of the best choices here. Haste is another extremely useful one. So you could go with Haste alternatively if you like going with that, but I think Counterspell is just so useful to have, especially on this class. And we also get some really great spells. Discordant Melody, normally Bard exclusive, is available to the subclass. Psionic Blast could knock targets prone, which is kind of nice with the force damage. I'm a huge fan of Fear, though. This can make targets drop their weapons, become fearful. Always a good thing, but if you have Mr. Spell, Psionic Blast works well, too. And as we get into our level 6 here, this is when we get another Vanguard talent. Subclass feature, the Eldritch Paragon. Your Eldritch Conduit has grown in power once born. You're capable of handling its unique magic. Because I'll show you that in just a second. This is exclusive to each of the Eldritch choices that you went with. And also, we got the Eldritch Conduit Burst. Send forth a wave of arcane energy through your Eldritch Conduit, causing different effects for each conduit as long as you're wielding it. The Channeler's Staff forces a Wisdom saving throw. Enemies take 3 to 30 psychic damage or half as much on a successful save. The Gastrophates will push enemies away from you. The Lantern will grant temporary health points equal to their character level to allies. And they have advantage on saving throws with those. Crazy good. And the Carapace will restore 2 health points and grant resistance to physical damage and psychic damage for 2 turns. So we get that extra psychic damage on our attack because we want that. We also get to take another choice in spell here. So even Summon Moonblade is a pretty cool choice, but Haste, again, is such a useful thing to have. Ashlar and Stride is nice too because you can move around and give it extra fire damage. Even Spirit Shroud can be pretty effective despite requiring a concentration. Mirror Image, again, increasing armor class, always a good choice. And we get to take another spell here. We'll take Sonic Blast, but if you don't have Mr. Spells unlocked, then you can go with like the Web spell, which is interesting. Not a lot of casters get access to that, or even Slow. Vanguard Talents. We can restore 2 first level spell slots per short rest with Vanguard Recovery, which is pretty nice. It's a free mage armor. I also like, again, at this point, since we increased our spell casting, we could go with the Student of War. Casting a spell empowers a different ways depending on what school of magic you cast. So with this, you can cast a spell, then it's going to boost up your overall spell casting there. Vanguard Recovery is not a bad choice, though. I like being able to recover 2 first level spell slots because that's extra survivability for us. Eldritch Implements Conduit. We can then take a second choice here. So Eldritch Carapace, it's your choice again which one of these that you're going to select. The Lantern can give your teammates some pretty good buffs. We're going to go with the armor there, though, because I think that one's pretty cool to showcase. Level 7 gives us the Vanguard technique, so you can choose to expend a bonus action, cast a spell using a spell slot instead of casting a cantrip, so just a further increase to our level 5 ability there. And we also get access to higher level spells here with some great choices opening up if you have Mr. Spells with like Storm Sphere there. There's a lot of really good ones. Haste, again, is always a good choice if you want to go with something like that. They removed Tidal Wave, which is one of the most overpowered broken spells in the game, which I'm glad that they did. Stone Shape's kind of interesting too, because you can crumble any type of target that you petrified, and it does a ton of damage, so that's a good choice as well. If you want to go down into like non-Mr. spells, Wall of Fire, never a bad choice to go with something like that. And for the spells that we get from our I guess, domain, our Eldritch subclass, Confusion, not a bad choice. Phantasmal Killer is okay, but I would say that the Confusion spell, or Olautham's Psychic Lance, doing 76 of psychic damage, pretty strong too, because the Resonant Stone you'll get around this level, or a little higher, and the Resonant Stone will double that psychic. Now we get to take another choice in spell here, so I actually think Mage Armor, I didn't take that previously, we may as well take that now. And then for our choice of spells here, we can go with the Olautham's Psychic Lance. And for the feat, we're going to max our intelligence here, take it up to 20. It's giving us better overall attack and spell casting. Level 9 gives us the subclass feature, Implement Mastery. You've become an expert in mastering or wielding your implements. You've selected mastery action for one implement. To use the action, you must be wielding an implement for the mastery you've selected. We'll get to that in a second here. We also get level 5 spells with Steel Wind Strike, one of the best spells in D&D, 60-10 of force damage on 5 different targets. Don't need to explain that one. You can imagine. That's pretty good. Astral Disjunction is also kind of cool because you can use a reaction to banish a target. That's always a fun way to just shut down, and it feels thematic for this class. We also get to choose, again, spells from here. Synaptic Static is extremely busted. It basically gives a 8d6 of psychic damage and a huge area of effect, and inflicts a 1d6 penalty to attack rolls, ability checks, and constitution saving throws. Huge. Contagions cool, but it's mainly useful because you can use this outside of combat and it doesn't aggro. And for our Eldritch Conduit, so the mastery, we chose the Carapace or the Staff. The Staff will give an additional 8 to 11 piercing damage to all enemies in an area and cause targets with your Eldritch Mark to become fearful. It's pretty good, but the Carapace mastery here gives you increased armor class by 2. And at each of your turns, send a wave of madness, forcing all enemies to make a wisdom saving throw or succumb to madness. Bonus action. That's pretty good. I actually like this better than the Staff mastery, so we'll go with that just to showcase that ability because it's pretty strong. Yeah, level 10 gives us another choice in cantrip. I guess we have even Told the Dead there if you didn't previously take that. And we get a choice of some more spells here. So I thought I selected Steel Wind Strike, but we're going to take that there. And if there's any other spells here from Mr. Spells that you like, grab what you prefer. We'll also get another choice in spell from here, which gives us the very powerful Hold Monster spell as well. Even something like Dream is kind of cool. Lash out a target's mind and place them in a magical slumber, which deals psychic damage to them upon waking. It's kind of cool spell to have. Fits thematically, I guess all those do. And we can take another Vanguard talent with things like spell throwing. Melee spell attack rolls gain a range of 4.5 meters. That's really cool. I think that even the Vanguard's protection, you can protect your allies from damage for 5 turns. Reduces damage equal to your wisdom modifier or intelligence modifier for 5 turns. This is permanent there, but bonus action. Student of War is also quite nice. Actually, we might go with the Vanguard protection there just to help keep our team alive with less damage being taken. Level 11, that actually works well with Blade Ward as well. Level 11 gives us the tactical strikes. Once per turn, when you attack with a weapon, you deal a 1d4 additional weapon damage. Woohoo! Love that. We also get to take a level 6 spell here, which gives us some really great options. Blade Barrier can be nice to shut down a whole area of effect. Control Water can make whirlpools, which is kind of cool too. Tensor's Transformation, turn yourself into the perfect warrior. That is a really fun spell. I also love Wall of Ice. Hero's Feast is nice if you have someone on your team with Cloud Kill because it makes them immune to the poison that would take from that. And we also get the Flesh to Stone spell here, which can work well with the other spell that can shatter them I mentioned previously. Dominate Person's not bad too. Even Auto's Resistible Dance. If you got the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel, I guess you can always just cast the spell as bonus action, but level 12 gives us another choice in spell here, which we can take, I guess, Blade Barrier if you want to shut down a large area of effect with this. Globe of Invulnerability, another really good spell because you can make targets immune to all damage. And we get to choose another spell here from this list. We got most of the ones that we want. I guess Psychic Crush is pretty good, 12d6 psychic damage. That can one-shot a lot of targets if you got the Resonant Stone. And we're going to take the Alert feat, +5 to initiative. Can't complain about that. Level 13, class feature spell cutter. You have advantage on saving throws triggered by creatures you attack on your previous turn. That's nice. Cool. Cool that Saethos is able to make that work as well. I guess we'll take Blade Barrier at this level here, but your choice in spells is personal preference from this point out. There's nothing super necessary. We do get another Vanguard talent here, which I'll take the Student of War, which is always nice to boost up our spell casting. Level 15 gives us the Mind Rip, 5d8 psychic damage. You can rip the Eldritch Mark status off a target and cause them to be numbed and become vulnerable to psychic damage. So yeah, blast away after that. We're ripping that Eldritch Mark right off them. Level 16, another feat here. I actually like at this point to take the dual wielder feat because we got ourselves a staff. We can also go staff and sword. Good old Gandalf the Grey. Level 17, more health, more life. We love it. Level 18 gives us another choice, another spell slot. And we also get to choose another spell here. I like the spell progression after this level. It's nothing too overpowered. Immolation can kind of be good to set up blaze the target. And then we also got a cool ability here, the Vanguard talent, extra attack war magic. When you attack as a bonus action, you can make an additional attack. Big thumbs up from Jay. Love that. It's pretty strong, but it's level 18. You don't have to use this level, the unlock level curve mod. Now, one of the best feats, if you're losing level 20, is tough. This gives you 40 extra health. Health is a resource. The more of that resource, the better. So we're going to grab that. But you can also go with an increase to your constitution if you prefer. And Power of the Master. Your understanding of the Eldritch has allowed you to temporarily act as a patron. Temporarily give your allies the power of a warlock. You can choose a pact boon to provide your ally and grant them 2 level 3 warlock spell slots. Now, how cool is that? It's actually pretty incredible. So that's a level 20 capstone. Very worth it, honestly. So this is some very fly-looking armor that you get with the Eldritch carapace there. So, and that's the staff. It looks really cool. So the channeling staff, 1d10 plus 1d8 psychic damage. At beginning of level 6, you gain a bonus warlock spell slot. This spell slot first starts at level 1, but at level 9 it grows again, and at level 12. Your spell save DC increases by 1, and it increases further at level 6 and 11. And it's an Eldritch implement, so you cannot drop it. Also with the Stillmaker, but we're going to use Shadow Blade here, because it just fits thematically. Now, I got the Helmet of Arcane Acuity. Whenever you deal weapon damage, you get Arcane Acuity. This works perfectly for this build. Now, we also got the Helldust gloves here, but the gloves of the Battle Mage's power can work with Shadow Blade to give yourself even further Arcane Acuity. So whenever you attack with a spell or cantrip that uses a weapon, which Shadow Blade is a spell that's a weapon that just main attack gives you Arcane Acuity. So that can be a good choice too if you didn't want to go with the Helmet of Arcane Acuity. The Eldritch Carapace here. So while wearing this armor, your maximum health increases by 1 for every level you have as an Arcane Vanguard. Give us 283 health. We're tanky. And when you land a weapon attack against a target affected by your Eldritch Mark, they become unable to take reactions till the end of the next turn, so you don't get those opportunity attacks bonking you on the head. This armor grants an additional 1 to your armor class and saving throws. This increases by 1 at level 6 and 10. You also get the Voracious Malivore. Once you hit level 6 with an Arcane Vanguard, your Living Carapace will now allow you to re-roll a failed saving throw against a spell. If this saving throw turns into a success, you regain 1d10 health points. Pretty crazy. Yeah, that is a cool ability. Now, the Disintegrating Nightwalker is probably the best boots, but the Boots of Stormy Clamor is good too because your Eldritch Mark will apply reverberation, so that can be nice. Now, the ring that makes the most sense here is the Ring of Mental Inhibition. So whenever a target fails a saving throw, they get mental fatigue for 2 turns, which is what the Eldritch Vanguard used to be built around. But Saethos put a lot of work in making this build a lot more enjoyable to play. Ring of Protection, we just want to boost up our armor class as much as possible. Because, yeah, if we took the ability to add our intelligence modifier, this would have been 21, so a little bit better there. Now, we also can do a cool little trick here. So we can dual wield our staves. And then take the Arcane Battery here to give ourselves the Shadow Blade upcast free. So yeah, this won't burn through our spell slots. We then get ourselves the Shadow Blade, 48 damage, and then we can put that in the main hand there, and then take our Channeling Staff and put that in the offhand. So then make sure you turn off dual wielding, but this gives us that main hand attack that'll do. I'm not seeing the main hand attack, but you can just go with clicking it there to attack with it. It'll do a 4d8 of psychic damage, which is pretty strong. So yeah, and then we also got the ability to add mage armor here, so we can pop that down. I guess we have armor with the Helmet of Arcane Acuity. So this is clothing. This is clothing. So with this, we can actually go ahead. Another good helmet if you are later on in the game is the Hood of the Weave here. Also the hood, if you go with the Hat of Storm Science Power or the Hat of Fire Acuity, those work great too. Or even the Haste Helm. Those are all great options, but this will allow us to actually apply the mage armor to ourselves, which does burn through our very valuable level 1 spell slot, but then we can use this to give ourselves that level spell slot back. This puts our armor class at 22, which will increase further as we get into combat and use some of the abilities that we have here. Like, I guess we can also apply the Vanguard protection there. It's 5 turns, I guess 3 turns, my bad. It said till long, I was just going to test see that there. But yeah, we do have the ability to power up ourselves and our teammates with the power of the master. So this is really cool. You can see that we're getting the bubbles on our teammates. But what we're going to do is we're going to turn Shadowheart here, our contestant, into a powerful warlock. So, oops. Wait, hello, lover. That's what I wanted. Pact of the Blade. That's obviously one of the best choices. So, boom. Shadowheart is now a warlock. This is some of the craziest things I've ever seen in the game. This is I guess mod, I mean. Being able to apply that extra attack onto someone is really cool. So, now she's a warlock. But this here is what we want to use before we get into combat. I guess I have Steel Wind Strike twice. That's why I was confused. I didn't grab it. But we have our Eldritch Conduit Burst here. Send forth a wave of Eldritch energy through your conduit. I'll be showing off all of this in the combat section right now. Alright, so we can buff ourselves up quite a bit, giving ourselves an armor class of 35 from using all of our Eldritch Carapace items, using the Mirror Image, Mage Armor. I got Haste on my character from another caster. This gives us quite a bit of survivability, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. We also got Armor of Agathis giving us potentially 45 extra health, which is crazy because, yeah, if you got the higher level spell slots, you can use that level 8 spell slot. Wouldn't fully recommend using that. I only use the level 6 spell slot there to give us the extra health, but yeah, it's pretty good. All right, so we go first, and we can cast. I would recommend first off starting with a spell cast. We got our Eldritch Conduit here, which we can do a big bursting attack, which will give us additional psychic damage on the enemies here. So find a spot that gets you in the range of as many enemies as possible, and we're gonna burst here. So boom, Eldritch Conduit burst. That ended up taking out a lot of them. Holy crap. Yeah, I don't understand that, but big boom, we like it. I guess the Resonance Stone really can boost up psychic damage quite a bit. Yeah, so we had that happen. That was pretty strong. We then use the Channeled Strike too, strike from range with your implement. But we need to cast a spell to get ourselves that extra attack in. We don't have any concentrations currently, so we can drop a concentration-based spell if you wanted to. Synaptic Static can be pretty good though, because with this spell, it's going to apply a negative to their saving throws. So boom, Synaptic Static, more psychic damage. Fits the theming of this pretty well. And that's a pretty useful use of our action. I guess we burned through our bonus action there as well with our Eldritch Conduit Burst, which is a pretty good usage of that. We now have a lot of targets running up on us over here, so we want to use one of the strongest spells from Mr. Spells, which is Steel Wind Strike. So this will allow us to lash out at 5 targets, which we want to obviously target the highest priority, any type of spellcaster. So we'll go with these here, boom, and yeah, we'll go with the critical hit. Boom! Yeah, that's a lot of damage. It didn't take out all of them, but it did a good number of them. And then you can teleport next to the target of Steel Wind Strike too if you wanted to move around there. Boom, pretty cool. Normally we'd get our extra ability to attack, but I burned through our bonus action by accident, so that's something that happened. And they're afflicted with the Eldritch Mark, Mental Fatigue, and the Synaptic Static, so they're going to have a hard time with resistance saving throws and doing anything. And I wish I recorded that, but they actually, they're under madness, so they started attacking each other, which is hilarious. So that's one of the nice things about this. You can apply that madness, as mentioned. We can also stop these annoying command grovels, which should really screw things up, so we'll make sure that that don't happen. But madness is so effective because then you can just get the enemies to fight themselves. So that's really, really good. And we're also really hard to hit with that very high armor class, so that's pretty fun. But yeah, lots of debuffs on the enemies. And they're attacking each other still, so that's great. I unfortunately got hit with another command, so having 2 reactions would be nice. This is another reason why using the Duelist Prerogative is not a bad choice, because yeah, command can be devastating if it's not controlled, so we're going to stop that from happening, because yeah, that would have been pretty bad. And it also triggers the Abjuration of War, which is kind of cool, so yeah. We just got to watch out for all the enemies here. Again, there's the command double up on us. It really does not do us any good here. And again, they're attacking each other, so that's what we want. Even though we still have Armor of Agathis, we got a lot of ways to reduce damage, but we can also apply that 30 cold damage on the attacker. So if they do end up hitting us, they're gonna have to feel it. Again, we'll stop this command. Oh, it didn't actually work. Counterspell failed. Weird. All right, we'll try this again. We'll use a higher level spell slots that don't fail. And unfortunately, we're getting commanded just back-to-back wombo combo. This would have been a perfect time to use the Eldritch Conduit Burst here to do a big amount of damage to all the targets in an area, but we also have Synaptic Static. That's always a spell that I don't mind using because the large area of effect and the psychic damage fits well within this. Unfortunately, it took out Minsk there, but yeah, that's the price you pay. And it brought in more fighters against us over somewheres here. Oh, they're all over here, so we might be able to throw our spell over that way and hit a few of them if we're able to. Yeah, we'll try that. That should hopefully take out a few of them there. Boom, that was nice. And then we got our bonus action. We can do a channeled strike here, or we could do a piercing strike, which will do our psychic damage from the Shadow Blade, which is really strong. So we'll run up on this guy here, who's got hit with a lot of our abilities here. So we can go with this attack. Boom, 52 damage, and we gained Arcane Acuity there, so that's good. Finally getting that Arcane Acuity. And we can use the channeled strike. Oh, it's too far away. It's too bad. And for some reason, let us go again, so we can then go with another Synaptic Static on them, and we can actually hit multiple of them. Synaptic Static is such a useful spell. And then, I guess Steel Wind Strike, oh, we're not far enough to hit them, so we'll just go with our Synaptic Static to hopefully take them out. Booyah, that was good. And to finish off the last 3 targets, we have our higher level spell slots, so we can use the Steel Wind Strike. I know there's not 5 targets, that's unfortunate, but we're going to do what we can with the spell slots that we got left. So boom, dashing around, finish them off. That was pretty good. Actually, there's one still alive there. So we'll then use our Ralotham Psychic Lance there. 99% hit chance. Boom, that finished them off. So that is the Eldritch Vanguard updated for the newest update. Saethos has put a lot of effort into these mods, so highly recommend checking this out if you haven't already. That is the Eldritch rework of the Arcane Vanguard. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button below. Let me know what kind of mod build you'd like to see next, and we'll catch y'all in the next one. Have a great day.